What is going on, fellow Wastelanders? Welcome to the channel. Shock Radio here, recording this video for the third time today. Absolutely driving me mental. I was muted the first time. I had reverb on the second time. I'm praying that this one goes through. Welcome to the channel. Today we're covering the latest and greatest news from the devs, the balance changes and other changes in the new season. They are going forward with the energy changes that we have been talking about for some time. So we're going to spend quite a bit of time going over literally everything in these balance notes. So grab a coffee, get a snack, sit back, relax, and let's talk about these balance changes. As always, I really appreciate our Wasteland supporters out there, people that are super chatting, super thanking, becoming YouTube members for that 99 cents a month, super cheap, and means the world to me to receive the support from you guys. And thank you guys for those subscribing on Twitch. You guys are making our giveaways possible. Stop by our live streams Sundays and Wednesdays. Wednesdays you can earn points to enter our giveaways on Sundays. Sundays you can win $5, $10. You can win PSN cards, Xbox cards, Steam games. We have lots of things to give away over the next couple weeks, so I hope to see you guys in my live streams. Now let's get right into this video. The energy supply of cabins, I'm sure you guys have already aware. They've been talking about this for some time, but they're increasing the energy supply of all cabins. Legendary light cabins will go up to 25 energy, while the heavy will be 23 energy. Common light will be 21, heavy will be 19. This is kind of a nerf to, in my opinion, at least to me, this is how it's affecting me. All the epic cabins are basically getting a small nerf of energy. So like the Catalina, the Humpback, the Blight cabin, all those cabins are going to be one less energy than their legendary counterpart. So like the Humpback's going to have one less energy than that new legendary cabin that's coming out, or the Blight is going to have one less energy than, say, a Kami or a Griffin cabin. So a lot of people are going to have to switch up to a legendary cabin if they want to run the same amount of modules and have the equivalent energy as they do today. So an interesting change. It should increase the viability of legendary cabins, which I think is much needed. There's not really much, there's no reason. I feel like basically all the epic cabins are better than all the legendary cabins, in my opinion. Most players are running epic cabins for the perks, so this energy change should balance that out a little bit. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on that. So since the rare and epic cabins have lost one energy point, we are making additional balance changes, most of them related to the mass limit, so that players will be able to replace the generator. So yeah, they're increasing the mass and the tonnage of most of these epic and under cabins. As you see, the Wyvern cabin is getting an increase from 3,500 to 4,000 kilograms. Bear is getting a mass limit increase, 9k to 9,500. Tonnage increase from 4,200 to 45 kilograms. Power increase by 7%. Fury, same thing, mass limit increase, tonnage increase, power increase. Same thing goes for the Quantum and the Photon, the mass, tonnage, and power increase. Now the Omnibox mass reduced from 2,100 to 1,700 kilometers per hour. I believe this is the mass of the cabin itself, so that's a bit of a buff, and then the mass limit increase of the Omnibox and a power increase of the Omnibox. Omnibox is a very fun cabin, so that's pretty awesome. Favorite and the Call cabin did not get those buffs. They only received a maximum speed increase, 80 to 83 for the Favorite, 77 to 80 kilometers an hour for the Call cabin. And the Howl cabin also received maximum speed increase from 80 to 83, tonnage increase from 4,500 to 5,500 kilograms per hour. I know they buffed the Howl cabin over the years, but I still feel like the Howl cabin perk is not that good. It needs more range. Like, I'm pretty sure the shotguns have more range than the Howl cabin perk, and that's not very fun. You know what I'm saying? Have to get that close to charge your perk. Moving on. Generators, they also changed the energy supply by generators. They remain the same as what they have been on the test server. Excuse me. Meaning that heavy generators will give you more energy than light generators, and relic generators obviously more energy than the legendary, so on and so forth. Now they did decrease the mass of a lot of the heavy generators, as well as decrease the power score. So for example, the Bootstrap has had a decreased mass. Now, along with the increased mass of a lot of cabins, this plus 50% explosive radius and plus 71% explosive damage might be able to be negated by having more armor and being able to build around these generators a little bit better. The same thing goes for the PU1 charge. They decrease the mass decrease the power score, but they increase the explosion radius and damage of these heavy generators to kind of balance out the more energy, more durability, all that stuff. Well, you have more explosive damage. I do want to point out one thing, guys. The Relic Odin is technically a light generator, so my speculation is that next year or the following year, 100% we're going to see a heavy Relic generator. This Odin really only is equivalent to 0.5 energy increase over the Apollo. That's ass. The Apollo is getting much buff with the energy, and Odin is getting sort of a nerf in a way, you know what I mean? Only being 0.5 energy over an Apollo, or 1 energy over the Apollo. I mean, is that worth 30,000 coin? We will see. We will see, guys. But yeah, remains to be seen. I definitely see them releasing a heavy generator in the future. So first of all, for energy consumption, we would like to note that the power score of all common and epic weapons and modules has slightly decreased in the new system. This is due to the fact that the power score weapons and modules is equal to the product of the rarity factor times the consumed energy. The factors of these parts were not divisible by 2 and therefore were rounded down. The power score values of some parts were also changed. Values from live game servers are shown in brackets, the new ones shown outside of brackets. So the power score changed. They decreased the power score of all this stuff: fuel barrel, carjack, radio, ruby, fuel tank, contact, rift, horizon, hardcore, RD2 keen, the flock, the rune, RNCO shiver, and K2 flywheel all have had a decrease in power score. So yeah, that's pretty awesome if you're looking to run those at a lower power score. Here's what they changed in the weapons. Some weapons did not get double the energy. It says here that pretty much all weapons doubled in energy. However, some weapons did not double in energy. A few weapons only went up or didn't decrease at all. Some didn't increase at all. Like the Enlightenment, for example, now consumes 1 point of energy instead of 2. Power score reduced from 275 to 135. This is actually going to be huge for things like the Young Wang, which we'll talk about later on in this video when we get to the Young Wang. But only being 1 point of energy for a module is actually huge. I'm really excited about this barrier buff. Link in the description for a video where I built pretty much an all barrier turret build, to where I made my build and my bots invincible. We were just dropping barrier after barrier, forcing players to rush in. The barrier was buffed before with an energy decrease, and now they're getting another energy decrease. So this is insanity. I mean, if we have 34 energy to work with, and barriers are only going to cost 3 energy, guys, I'm going to be able to run a lot of barriers. I cannot wait to make a new barrier troll build. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited to see that build. I am. I'm very excited. The Ikari is actually getting a buff I'm sad about, but it is super effective in Leviathan against these brick builds. Ikari will consume 7 points of energy instead of 8, and power score being reduced. So instead of doubling the Ikari energy, it's only going to go up by a little under double. So from 4 points of energy to 7. Now here's where it's really interesting. The Young Wang perk, they're trying to balance out the Young Wang because of all these extra energy points you're going to get. The perk's bonus for energy spent on modules is now reduced from 12% to 6%. So they're doubling most things and also doubling the amount of energy you need to spend to maximize the Young Wang perk. However, things like the Enlightenment only consuming 1 energy point is going to be massive for a Young Wang build. And there are much more, we'll talk about them coming up, but there's a lot more modules that are only going to be 1 energy point. I'm curious to see if Young Wang players are going to start throwing these 1 energy point module on their Young Wang to get insane amount of damage. We'll have to see. I don't know if I'm excited about this Young Wang or nervous. I think I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you. Now these blue changes were not part of the test server, but they are coming to the update. Anywho, very welcome changes. Pretty much all low to mid power score melee builds are being nerfed. It's pretty much impossible to run anything but melee on wheel builds, especially at low power scores. Your wheels just getting taken out. You can't run autocannons, you can't run cannons, you can't really run machine guns at lower to mid power score, because you're just going to get meleeed to death. I mean, you can do it, but it's just really hard. So borers are now going to consume 5 points instead of 4, power score increase. Same with the buzzsaw, 5 points of energy instead of 4 with a power score increase. Lacerator and mauler all the way up to 7 points of energy instead of 6, power score increase. So yeah, these melee weapons are going to be much less effective at these low mid power score ranges. Borer, buzzsaw, lacerator, and mauler consumes too little energy So vehicles that use them usually built for low power score levels and have too high efficiency on those levels. Absolutely. The change should weaken armored vehicles with these weapons by forcing players to uninstall some modules or install a generator and increase the power score levels they play on. I think a lot of 4K, 5K power score players are going to be much appreciative of this balance here. Let me know in the comments below if you're happy or sad about that. So modules similar to weapons, we double the energy consumption of all modules except for the ones listed below. We decided not to tie energy consumption to rarity, which we tested last time, and implemented only those changes that we consider really necessary. So this was something I was complaining about on the last, the test server. The lower tier engines, the lower tier like cooling modules, the lower tier radars were essentially the same energy as the purple counterpart, which I didn't agree with. So I was definitely vocal about that when we were trying out the test server. So I'm glad that they decided to alter some of the energy of these modules. For example, the Dunhorse and the Razorback, now 1 point of energy instead of 2, power score reduced. I never used the Razorback anyway, but the Dunhorse is actually a good engine to use, so that's good. This was my biggest gripe on the test server. The Oculus radar on the test server was 2 energy points, the same as the Doppler. Well, they decided to revert that, because as they say in the notes, unfortunately players don't use this module at all. That's right, that is correct, not at all. So making it 1 less energy point than a Doppler, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna have to use an Oculus right now. My current Firebug build with an Odin uses a Doppler, one of them, and with the upcoming energy changes, I don't believe I'm gonna be able to use a Doppler, a Yeti, and an Amamori, especially on a Blight cabin. So for that particular build, I might be doing something as simple as switching to an Oculus, and that should fix my issues. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one. The K81 discharger is the same thing as the Oculus. No one ever uses it compared to the flywheel, so they decided to keep the energy at 1 point, reducing the power score, but also reduce the efficiency a little bit of the KA1 discharger. So more players might be using the KA1 discharger in the future. A big nerf to the Yeti. The Yeti now consumes 3 energy points instead of 2. A very welcome nerf. Their invisibility reserved increased from 30 to 45 per second, 30 to 45 seconds. Bonus from invisibility reserve reduced 15 to 10%. Still adds 5 seconds. Now they are nerfing the rune here a little bit. Bonus to the invisibility reserve from rune 1 reduced from 50 to 25%. So it does rely a lot on the rune, having 1 or 2 rune modules on there to power the Yeti. I was thinking the rune might go up in value after the battle pass ends, but now I'm thinking that it probably is not, because they're nerfing it. So maybe I crafted runes naively. I should not have crafted runes. Whoops. Amamori also getting the nerf hammer, going from 2 energy or 1 energy point to 3. As with the Yeti, it's a very effective module with mechanics different from its predecessor, so maybe people will start using the Averter, or maybe people will just start dropping the Yeti for the Amamori. I can't really see people dropping the Amamori. I can see people going to legendary cabins instead of purples. I can see people dropping their cloaks down. The Amamori is just too good. People aren't going to go without the Amamori. So here's where I'm thinking the Young Wang might benefit. The Aviator now consumes 1 point of energy instead of 2. Power score reduction, boost reduction. Now gives 3% bonus to damage with the cockpit perk, but that 1 energy point, you're gonna be able to slam a lot of Aviators on a Young Wang build and really buff the damage of the Wang. Same with the blast off. Instead of 3 energy though, it's gonna be 2 points of energy. Boost increase 21%. Now gives 10% bonus to damage with the cockpit perk. Big nerf on the Hermes, especially like, in my opinion, the Pac-Man or mouth levies that use like 12 or 13 or 15 damn Hermes boosters. You're not gonna be able to use those levies as is anymore. I was talking to one player and he said it's no big deal. They're just gonna use less Hermes and more other modules. Not a big deal. Still, the levy will be effective, but currently there's a Pac-Man mouth levy that uses, I think it's like 12 plus Hermes. They're not gonna be able to do that anymore to get the Young Wang bonus. They're gonna have to do other things. Maybe switch to the Aviator or something. I don't know. So power score increased from 275 to 405. Boost increased by 56%. That's pretty huge. That's going to affect levies a lot. Now gives a 25% damage, bonus damage to the cockpit perk. Durability also increased from 129 to 172. So they said in the comments, we implemented an energy consumption progression for boosters and further widened the gap in acceleration efficiency, as Hermes is too big and quite difficult to mount on a car in large numbers. And Aviator is much less likely to be used at low power score than the blast off. So trying to increase the usability of Hermes and the Aviator while keeping blast off in the mid there. Really excited about this one. The Argus and the Interceptor only consume 1 point of energy, even when the changes go into effect. Again, this is going to be massive for things like Young Wang builds. You know, they're going to be able to run an Argus and an Interceptor, increasing their energy damage on the Young Wang. Firebug builds like myself, hate to trigger you guys at home that hate Firebug builds and players, but pretty massive for me. I'm going to be able to run an Interceptor and an Argus on my Firebug build. It might mean that I'll be able to run my Blight cabin with my Firebugs easier if I'm running an Argus or an Interceptor. So we'll see. I might not have to run a Kami or Griffin after all. R1 Breeze now consumes 1 point instead of 2, so that's good. That in the test server, all these were double, and that was just silly. I was like, why are you doubling them? Power score also reduced, insane. R2 Chill also 1 point instead of 2, power score reduced, and efficiency reduction from 50 to 40%. RN Seal, and so the RN Seal is actually doubling the energy to 2 points. Efficiency increase from 70 to 80% for shotguns, from 38% to 44%. Now this one's an interesting one. The Tamir now consumes 1 point of energy instead of 2. Power score reduced from 130 to 65. Efficiency reduced from 60 to 40%. So what they said about these changes are necessary so that when using weapons with heating mechanics in conditions of energy shortage, it will be possible to replace an epic module with a weaker one, or to install it if you have 1 free point of energy, similar to weapons with reloading and discharger flywheel. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory there. Interesting to see this Tamir only being 1 point of energy instead of 2. That's a massive buff to that cooling module in my opinion. So these are some massive balance changes to wheels. This is actually huge in my opinion, because these buffs on wheels are stacking with the nerfs on melee. So all these wheels, so hard to run in low power score because you're just going to get meleeed to death. You're going to get bored and buzzsawed and lacerated, and you're just going to lose your wheels in frame. Well, they're nerfing melee, and they're increasing the durability of all these wheels. So the large wheel increased durability 220 to 275. Landing gear durability increase from 110 to 130. Camber durability increase 135 to 175. Lunar increase from 125 to 155. Array increase from 200 to 245, durability increase from 215 to 230, and twin wheels durability increase from 235 to 295. These changes are in addition to recent wheel changes and the melee nerf. They should increase their survivability and relevance at low power score. So that's absolutely huge, guys. Right now it's impossible to run wheels on anything but dogs. So perhaps with these durability buffs and the melee nerfs, we will see more wheels in the wasteland being ran effectively. Sabbath perk is being nerfed. The perk stacking delay is increased from 0.3 to 0.5 seconds. Perk was too high against rapid fire weapons, so yeah, they gave it the nerf. Meat grinder getting some much needed love. Not quite enough love, I think, to push it into clan battle territory, but for PvP this should be a lot of fun. They added some additional weld points and added resistance to thermal and cryogenic damage as well. 25% resistance to thermal and cryogenic damage. Incinerator getting a massive nerf. My opinion, now we can talk about this as a community, but I think it's definitely warranted. Currently, all Diamond clans on PlayStation run an Incinerator build on their comp. All right, just what it is. Live Invasion clan battle or Leviathan clan battles, you're gonna run one Incinerator and a bunch of bricks, or you're gonna run the Incinerator with porks and bricks. The bricks are going to stop the Leviathan, and the Incinerator just does so much damn damage. It's insane. So yeah, and also the Incinerator completely cancels out ice due to how fast it heats parts up. So I think what this is meant to do is decrease its effectiveness in diamond tier clan battles. I mean, literally the #1 clan on PC, EQWS, Syngenta. I was watching their stream the other day. My guy was running 2 porks and 1 Incinerator. You know damn well he's got fused porcupines. So he would rather run 1 Incinerator over a couple of fused porcupines. That's how good Incinerators are right now. So fire puddle damage being reduced 5 to 2.5 points. Parts heating rate reduced 20% per second to 5% per second. Now this is massive. That's kind of massive. That's definitely massive. Projectile blast damage increased from 30 to 120 points. Added parts heating from the projectile explosion 25%. So you're going to want to rely more so on direct hits with the Incinerator, do that 25% heat off the jump instead of just having that 20% per second. You got the 25% heat on the hit and then 5% per second until you get to 100% heated parts. So along with reducing the effectiveness of the Incinerator, they are increasing the effectiveness of the Yoden. Right now, the Incinerator outperforms the Yoden in every way possible. So naturally, trying to even the playing field a little bit was going to come. Projectile blast damage increased from 60 to 150 points. Added parts freezing from projectile explosion 25%. So definitely it's relying again more on direct hits versus having that suppressive ice puddles to do damage. Now we got some nerfs that I'm confused about the Tusk nerf, but the Cerberus nerf, damage of the built-in melee weapons reduced from 30 to 20 points, and reduce the length of the damage zone. Built-in weapons now can't deal damage through parts that are 1 structural cell thick. I have no idea what this means, guys. You guys with bigger brains than me, let me know in the comments below, because everything is 1 structural cell thick. So I don't get this. I just don't. Yeah, you guys have to explain this to me. I have no freaking clue what that means. So the Tusk getting a really dumb nerf, in my opinion. Remove the permanent bonus to ram damage. Now ram damage increases only from the perk. Ram damage resistance reduced from 70 to 60%. Let's read what they had to say, and then we can laugh at it a little bit. The average damage per minute done directly by the Cerberus and Tusk cabins exceeds that of many weapons. We believe that cabins should not be that efficient at dealing damage, as their built-in weapons cannot be destroyed and do not consume energy. Cool for the Cerberus. Devs, the Tusk is the weapon. Okay, you don't put weapons on a Tusk. The Tusk is the weapon, guys. You don't put anything else on the Tusk. Maybe now you might, you know, put those flame weapons on the side. I don't know. But devs, the Tusk is the weapon. Okay, that's it. Period. Why are you nerfing the Tusk? Massive buff coming to MG13 and MG14 Arbiter. Terrified of seeing Arbiters in helicopter mode now. They're already really effective, and now with a buff in the perk of the Arbiter and Equalizer, holy smokes. So what are they doing, you ask? Well, fully charged perk now doesn't reset immediately, but gradually reduces over 2.45 seconds. So when you get that full perk, you need to cool down. You can cool down now a little bit without losing your entire perk, which is absolutely huge for those weapons. They did the same thing with the Cyclone. A fully charged perk now doesn't reset immediately, but gradually reduces over 1.5 seconds. The changes to the miniguns and cyclones are primarily aimed at increasing the comfort of using these weapons. So I agree 100%. Pretty excited to try out cyclones after this perk if I can ever afford them. Right now I'm too damn sidetracked by fusing Odins and trying to accumulate items from the Frostbite Assault before it ends. I would really like to get 2 more Scotties before the Frostbite Assault ends. So we got like a week or 2 to grind out that. Retro rotation speed increased by 67%. I guess this is for Leviathans, because no one in their right mind is going to run retro wheel builds. Maybe you guys will. I don't know. Rotation speed doesn't really matter for retros because most people are going to use them on hovers. Flip side is Leviathans. So maybe this is to buff retros on Leviathans, because a lot of people have taken off their retros off the Leviathans and replaced them with like Helicons or other things that are better suited than retros now. Scotty getting massive buffs. It was voted worst weapon by you guys on my YouTube channel a couple weeks ago. You guys literally voted it the worst cryogenic weapon in the game right now. So Scotty getting some much needed love. The speed of the perk's negative effect increased by 57%. That's insane. Parts freezing speed increased by 47%. That's also insane. I personally like to use one Scotty on a flash brick for Leviathans. So these, yeah. Yes. The speed of the perk's negative effect by 57%, that's going to decrease the enemy's Leviathan damage faster, which is incredible. That means I'm going to be able to survive longer when I'm charging at a Leviathan, along with reducing its reload speed and movement speed because of the flash and the spark. It's going to be absolutely insane to try the Scotty out after this buff goes into effect. I don't know what they're thinking with the Scorpion buff. A lot of it's good, but also what? The rate of the projectile's damage loss as parts are penetrated reduced by 12%, so you're going to be able to penetrate through more parts. Here's where they confuse me. Rotation speed increased by 60%, spread increased while turning reduced by 25%. So they basically were like, change the rotation speed and speed increase while turning should improve the experience of playing unpopular wheeled and track vehicles. It's not going to change it for the Scorpion guys. The Scorpion hitbox is too massive. When you turn a Scorpion sideways, it's gigantic. No one in their right mind is going to run a wheel build in regular PvP or clan battles. Now what this does do is put the Scorpion back in a more viable state for Leviathans. Currently, The meta for Leviathan is take your Scorpions off and just add a Thyrsus and you'll have more energy. Because the Thyrsus will do as much damage as, say, 2 Scorpions, good durability, and it uses less energy than 2 Scorpions. So perhaps with this rotation speed increase and the spread increase while turning reduction will cause a lot of players to rethink the Thyrsus and put Scorpions back on their Leviathan. But we'll see. Only time will tell. Also, Phobos getting nerfed. Nitrous Oxide System skill will now increase the speed of the armored vehicle by 5% instead of by 5 kilometers an hour. So the devs basically said, yeah, big old brick builds, cohorts and things like that were too fast with the Phobos perk. So now it's only going to go up by a percentage of the max speed. So you might only get a 2 or 3 kilometer per hour increase of speed with Phobos, depending on the build. Last but not least, probably the best thing out of all this, reduce the influence of speed on ram damage and its penetration depth. Yeah, so they're tweaking the ram damage mechanics. Finally, brick meta has overwhelmed the wasteland. Shotguns, bricks just running into everything, completely overtaking everyone and everyone you love while they're nerfing the brick meta. So now you'll do a little bit less damage and less penetration on speed running into players. So pretty awesome there. Definitely some welcome changes. I am actually excited for a lot of this changes. Now, they did mention here another interesting announcement related to the new update is coming this week. Stay tuned. I'll definitely be covering that. Hopefully I won't have to record that video 3 times like I did this one, because I just spent about 2 hours just trying to record this damn video for, you know, that $1 I'm going to make on YouTube. So anyway, much appreciation to the Wasteland supporters out there, the guys that are super chatting, super thanking, all of my channel members joining our YouTube. It's only 99 cents a month to join our YouTube channel. So if you like to support this kind of content, yeah, definitely join the YouTube for that 99 cents or subscribe on Twitch. We are live every Wednesday and Sunday. You can earn channel points on our Twitch and our YouTube on Wednesday, and then on Sundays we have giveaway using the channel points that you've earned from watching the stream. You can win $5 Visa, $10 Visa. You can win $10 PSN, Xbox, Steam cards. We have games to give away, battle pass codes to give away, so you definitely don't want to miss out on our live streams every Wednesday and Sunday between 12 and 8 p.m. Eastern time. Check us out live on Twitch and YouTube. Again, I really appreciate everyone supporting the channel, and I will see you guys in the Wasteland or in the next video.